Action impact number 4. These things have been really fun to make. It's probably been, the highlight of each one of my days. I've really spent time just diving into each topic and really just thinking about it. And, um, with the topic being toughness, today's been a tough one as well. I'd say it's been probably the least amount of energy that I've had since being quarantined. And, um, yeah, there's been some other things that have happened too that they really just made this day tough for me. But same reason I'm making this impact. So here we go. Um, I feel like everyone that survived this year deserves a T-shirt of 2020 battle tested. I'm gonna probably have a booth set up, and I'm gonna make you tell me something positive before I give you this T-shirt. See if you've been listening to these impacts here, but that's the first thing I want to talk about is toughness and going through adversity or trial, and people cope with that in different ways. And when I look at it, is the first thing is trying to find a positive or a something that you can take away from the situation, because obviously when you're in the midst of the battle, and there may not be a lot of positive things around you. So it really is important that you put the blinders on and focus on that one positive thing going. And for me right now, that's what these action impacts are all about. When I think about toughness, I think about two types of toughness, and that's, mental or obviously physical toughness. Um, I think this is really interesting when you look at it, because some of the biggest, burliest people I know that are some of the strongest are also some of the biggest teddy bears out there, and you gotta love them for it. And also, when you look at the mental over the physical aspect as a man, um, it's important that I try to keep a mentality up here that I only cry behind closed doors, and keeping that a toughness. I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and be tough at the same time. Um, Same reason I'm making these impacts here is, this is just real stuff that's flying, from my heart. And um, I feel tougher for it, for being vulnerable. Just me, myself in a Zoom call. I can tell that I'm getting a little bit tougher and being able to deal with this situation a little better each day. One thing I do want to really mention is that your mind is so powerful, to where it can carry your body through whatever you have going through. Um, there's several examples here. If you can stand some cuss words, I would recommend checking out David Goggins. That guy is just insane as far as mentally tough goes. He's went through the ringer and then some, and he loves to tell you about it. So when it comes to getting your mind right, and really the mental strength over the physical trial, I recommend looking at stuff like that. Um, also another thing that's very relevant with 2020 is medication. There's a lot of things that are being legalized all across the country, and then there's a lot of people that are going into their doctor trying to cope with 2020 with medication. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all. I really do hope that that is what helps you get through this. But one thing I do want to mention is, relating back to my change impact, there is these things can either help you and allow you to get better, or they can consume you. What I look at there is, you know, can I function without it? And it's a decision that you have to make in your brain. Can I function without it? A lot of people that unfortunately, haven't developed any mental toughness, they immediately flip a switch and say, I need it, versus it would help me. Just be careful of that when you look at, obviously medicating and um, trying to improve your life. Is look out at consuming it with things that may seem great at the time, but overall will allow you to be in a worse position than you were ahead of time, or you become dependent on it. And I'm not here to get into any conspiracy theories, but I feel like everyone wins when you're dependent on a medication, except for you. And just let that sink in. Um, the other thing I'd like to say about toughness is some people really just don't like to deal with this. When it comes to a tough situation, you got to remember our body is over 80% water. So naturally, we take the path of least resistance. I see that time and time again. When I was running action marketing events, there were several times where as soon as somebody was right at the threshold to really do well and succeed, they took the easy way out. Oh, let me go back to something I know, or um, well, this job said that they're going to pay me $12 an hour. I think I'm just going to go there and sit on my ass. A lot of people just they really take the easy way out, and I encourage you to be stubborn. Um, First thing is, when there's a problem, embrace it head on. Okay, it's really easy to see a problem and then just divert away from it and hey, push it to the wayside. But uh, it's really hard to grow if that's the case. If you are just willing to blame others and outside influences, it's really hard to grow as a person, and you'll never develop thick skin. You'll always just be a point of the path of least resistance, and not willing to grow as a person. Um, there's a difference between being stubborn and being tough. Obviously, when it comes to being stubborn, you're not willing to admit any failure or do any self-evaluation as to maybe the things that put you into that tough spot. Um, what I look at is really just accepting it and building towards the future by finding that one positive or that one takeaway of the situation and using that to accept your faults and build a better future. Um, Really never walk away from something unless you know the problem. When it's personally, I have had to, walk away from a couple things here lately in my life, and the reason that I clung so hard to it was because I was really trying to figure out where I went wrong, what was the problem, and how can I fix it next time. And just be careful if you get into that kind of mindset for too long, it can really bog you down, and you can forget all the positive things that you were trying to get out of the situation. When it comes to toughness and being 2020 battle tested, it ain't over. There's still going to be some things that come our way. And, what I'm going to use these videos for is for myself, being able to look back at these quick impacts. And if you got a chance to tune in, I appreciate it. Any feedback or things going that way, I'm all ears. I do have several other topics that I'm going to be covering over the next couple days, and anyone who's went through well, let's just put it this way, I'm praying for you. If you're on this video, this is the first impact, maybe the last one, maybe you shut your ears off, I'm not sure. Well, guess what? I'm praying for you, and I hope you have an awesome day, and stay tough out there.